Today I'm going to be creating my self-love workbook, and I'm going to be walking you step by step through the process that I use to make this workbook. Now, this isn't the final copy. As you can see, this is just my proof copy. I've actually gone in and made some changes to this, so this is not the way it's going to look, but we're going to dive into the process that I use to create the book from start to finish. But before we get started, if you like this type of content, then make sure you go ahead and like this video now. I'll give you a moment to do it. Go ahead and like the video now so that I know to keep creating things that show you how to make more money online. Okay, so let's get into it. Step number one, you're going to want to clarify the type of workbook that you want to make. So this includes identifying your target audience, meaning, are you going to be selling to children? Are you going to be selling to teens? Are you going to be selling to adults? I knew that for my workbook, the reason I wanted to create a workbook like this is because when I'm creating books, it has some sort of connection to me. So whether that's if it's something that I would have loved to see as a child, or if it was something that I've actually gone through in life, that is the reason I create books. And for the self-love workbook specifically, I created this because recently I've been going through changes in life and just exploring my values, my beliefs. I turned 41, and when I turned, and actually this started maybe a couple years ago when I just started saying, okay, what is your real purpose in life? Because a lot of times we can get wrapped up in entrepreneurship, we can get wrapped up in life, and we don't take the time to just examine what our real true purpose is in life. What is it that we actually believe now? You know how when we're growing up, we're taught certain things by our parents. We're taught certain things if we were born and raised in the church. So it's like you get to a point where you start to say, okay, do I believe all of these things? Or if I don't believe everything that I believed when I was growing up, what changes have happened? And what do I want to believe now in this segment of my life? So that was kind of where I was, and I said, you know, I'm going to really make this workbook for myself because these are the questions that I've been asking myself, but I had just written it down on regular sheets of paper. So I was like, I'm going to put this into a workbook so that I can actually go through these questions and examine the questions so that I'll know where I am now versus where I actually want to be, or what I believe that God has destined me to be, right? So that was the purpose of me creating this specific workbook. Now, because this workbook is for me and women like me, I already knew the workbook was going to be for women, right? Because I know that I am my target audience. So when you're deciding on your workbook, you could just figure out who you want it to be for. And this will help you connect with your audience because whoever the book is going to be for, you'll know what types of questions to ask. You'll know kind of how to tailor your content and your exercises within the workbook to those specific people so that you're talking to them. For example, when I first started the book, I give an explanation of why healing is important, because as you're going through life and you're examining your purpose, there are a lot of things in life that you may have already healed from, but there are still some things that you may have never wanted to touch because maybe in the past you tried to fix those issues and it just didn't work out. For example, if in the past you were an introvert and you were kind of secluded and you decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to let a few people on in. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to let many, but I'm going to let a few people in. The few people that you decide to let in, they hurt you worse than the first time that made you shut off from people, right? So you may decide, you know what? Forget this. I ain't even gonna try this no more. I'm gonna shut this door and ain't nobody getting in ever. So, you know, those are things that require healing. So in the beginning of the book, I talk about why healing is important. For example, healing helps us to recover and restore our well-being, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual. And then I kind of break down how healing plays a vital role in your physical healing, how it plays a vital role in your emotional healing and your spiritual healing, and then how healing brings wholeness. And then, of course, when you start talking about healing, you can't talk about healing without talking about fear, because it brings a measure of fear, because now you're revisiting those past things that you had never dealt with. And the reason that you really shut those past things out is because of fear. And I talk about fear of entrepreneurship or fear of starting your business in one of my previous videos that I'll link. So one of the questions is, what am I afraid of? And then I wrote out some of the things that I'm afraid of. So I give plenty of space in the workbook to just start dealing with the things that you're afraid of. And when you're going through workbooks like this, it's always good to be honest with yourself. Now, you know how when you're talking to someone, you might not tell them everything, right? Because you don't know if you could trust them fully, or you don't know if they're safe to tell. But in this, you are talking to you. So you're facing yourself. So you should not be afraid to be truthful with your responses and dig deep with your responses and actually think about, what are you afraid of? So I said all that to say your questions are tailored towards your target audience, because remember I said the workbook was created because I'm in a place in life now where I've reached age 41. And I'm just really thinking about my values, my beliefs, and the things in life that are going to take me from one point to the next point. Step number 2, you're going to want to outline your book chapters. Now for this section, I went to ChatGPT. Now I've discussed ChatGPT in a previous video that I'll link as well. But what I did was went to new chat, and then I started typing in ChatGPT, create a self-love workbook. And then it will give you an outline for your self-love workbook. As you can see, it comes up with the title. It actually will come up with an introduction section, a table of content section, and everything. So this will give you the foundation that you need for your table of content. Now keep in mind, when you are using ChatGPT or any type of AI service, you don't want to use anything word for word. So what I normally do is take bits and pieces of what I like from the table of contents or the outline, and then I'll use those within my workbook. So if you wanted to use maybe setting the foundation, right? And then you're defining self-love and its importance, but instead of defining self-love and its importance, I decided to define healing and its importance. And then I identify personal obstacles to self-love, or in my case, personal obstacles to healing, right? It's just really helpful because it just gives you an outline within like 10 seconds, right? It tells you everything you need. And if you need more details, or let's say you see the first bullet point for setting the foundation and you say, give me more details of activities I can include for point number 1. And then you see it'll start giving you more information as far as activities. So this really helps you when you are trying to just put things together to formulate each section. Now in my workbook, I formulated 3 sections in my workbook. So I talk about different things in each section. So for example, in section 1, I talk about fear. In the next section, I talk about self-care and the importance of self-care and self-love. And then in the 3rd section, I talk about personal growth. So after you outline the workbook and the chapters, step number 3 is going to be brainstorming the exercises and the prompts. And like I just said in step number 2, you can also use ChatGPT to go ahead and start formulating some of the prompts and the exercises that you're going to include in the workbook. Think about journaling exercises, what guided prompts you want for your specific audience. Think about if you want to include affirmations or any type of quotes inside of the workbook. Any activities that'll prompt your target audience's emotions or their aspirations. Now, because this is actually something that I'm going through in my current personal life, I know the things that I've been asking myself, the questions that I've been hearing, the thoughts that have been coming, right? So I know what types of questions to ask, but if you need a little more help, then ChatGPT can be a great assistant for that. So AI works perfect when you are trying to gather ideas or trying to gather content that you need. All right, step number 4 is going to be organizing. So now you're going to start putting each chapter step by step. You're going to start laying it out so you'll know the flow of the book, right? Consider using bullet points to break things down so you'll know, okay, this page is going to go here. I want all my quotes on the right side of the page. I want this on the left side of the page. I might want numbers on the page. So you're going to start laying out everything that you've already gathered that you know you're going to put in your book. Do you want any extra pages, like for free space, for people to just write what they want without your prompts? For them to just think about life and just maybe if they're feeling like, today I just want to write in my diary. You know how back in the day we would just write in our diary. All it had was lines in it, really. And we would just write out whatever we wanted, whatever was on our heart or whatever was on our mind for that day. So do you want to include extra pages for them to have space to write? Step number 5, you're going to start putting the workbook together. So let's take a look behind the scenes at how I put my workbook together using Canva. Once I get in Canva, I already know that I want to create a design that is going to be 8.5 by 11 inches. So I go to custom size, and then I move this to inches, and I go ahead and put 8.5 by 11 inches. And I go ahead and create a new design. So I have a blank canvas, and I already have all of my stuff laid out and organized on a spreadsheet. So I'll just take the information from that spreadsheet, and I'll begin to create my interior. And I'll go to the text tab, and I'll go ahead and insert some text so that I can start writing. All right, and so I'll just copy and paste from my document. So I'll go here to paste, and this is going to be my copyright page that I'm putting here. And of course you see the title, and that is the Self-Love Workbook. All right, so of course you see the title, you see the copyright section, and you see the ISBN information, and then I go ahead and include, for more information, visit my website. So this will be page 1 for me. And then I'll go ahead and add a page. This page, I think I'm going to add some more text, and I'm going to put this book belongs to. And then under that, I just usually use the shift key and the underline key. But if you don't want to do it like that, you can always just go over here to elements and then click on, well, then search for lines. And then it'll bring a line to your page, and you can just use the line like that, see? And then I'm going to highlight all of it so that I can move it all and it can be centered, right? The intro page is just simply welcoming everyone to the workbook. So it says, welcome to the Woman Go Be Workbook, your personal guide, empowering you to move from feelings of being stuck to a place of growth and fulfillment. This workbook is a space where you can explore, reflect, and take intentional steps towards creating a healthier version of yourself. And then, of course, at the bottom, I say XO Latoya Nicole. And so from there, you're just going to start putting your workbook together. Once you put your workbook together and you formatted it, you've proofread everything that you can find. I always like to actually go in and look at the pages. This way I can see each page one by one, just go over it, make sure I don't catch any errors in any of the editing or the words. Everything's set up like I want it to be. So now we're gonna go back to Canva so that we can do the cover. For the cover, I always go to KDP cover calculator so that I can get the correct size. So the binding type is going to be paperback, then it's going to be black and white, and then it's going to be white paper, left to right, inches, and the trim size is 8.5 by 11 inches, and the page count was 107 pages. And then you can go ahead and calculate the dimensions. This is how you'll know what your full cover dimensions should be, and then you'll choose your width and your height, and then you'll insert that information into Canva. 17.491 by 11.25, and then you'll create your new cover design. I usually go ahead and download a template as well, and you'll download that, and then you'll save that. Once you have it saved, you'll go back to Canva and you'll click upload your file there, but I already have it here. So then you'll just bring it and match it up. Now when I'm doing my cover, I always have my illustrator to go in and create the image for me. And then I go ahead and start adding my elements to change the color. Go ahead and add those. For this one, I went here to add a new color, and then I chose gradient colors. And then when I choose gradient colors, I usually just play with the style to see how I want it to look. So we'll do that. And that'll be the background of it, right? And this is going to be the front cover of the book, and then this is going to be the back cover. And you'll just play with it until you get it like you want it. Once I have everything set up, I then go to the download tab and I save it as a PDF document, because of course you'll need 2 PDF files in order to upload your workbook to the KDP platform. I talk about this and go in detail in the video linked. And then the final step is going to be to publish your book. But when you're going through that process, the number one thing you want to make sure you do is get your proof copy, right? Because when you get your proof copy, you're going to be looking through the book again, because you've already looked through the book when it was in Canva. You've looked through the book when you saved it as a PDF file, but now it's like a new fresh set of eyes when you're holding your book and you can actually look through the book. And one thing that helps me when I'm putting my book together is actually starting to go through the workbook myself and starting to just make sure everything makes sense. Make sure everything, lines up correctly. Do the pages flow smoothly? You know how like back in the day when we used to get CDs, the next song would make sense with that first song that had just previously went? That's the same way you're going to put your book together, like a record, right? You're going to make sure everything flows and is copacetic throughout your book. This is why getting a proof is so important, because it lets you lay eyes on each page specifically, see how it looks on the pages. Your inspirational pages add up, because I do black for my inspirational pages. So just making sure everything looks good. And like I said, the reason that I know I needed to make changes to this workbook is because I ordered the proof copy. All right, and then once you get your proof copy back, if you like everything looks great to you, then you go ahead and press the publish button. And congratulations, you've completed your self-love workbook. Then you can start promoting it through your social media channels, such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, or collab with influencers to get the word out about your new book. So I hope this process was helpful for you. If you enjoy this type of content, go ahead and click that like button. And also a quick church announcement. Sometimes I do have the opportunity to read through you guys' comments. And if you're asking general questions, I might have time to go in and, respond to that question, but I don't always have time to respond to every single comment. So if you have questions regarding the process itself and you just need a little more help or you need some guidance through it, feel free to go ahead and sign up for my one-on-one coaching. You can visit IamLatoyaNicole.com to go ahead and set that up. Also, if you're ready to upload your book to KDP's platform, then go ahead and watch this video next. Now, until next time, bye-bye.